Okay, so in this part of the workshop video, I decided to split it into two videos because their contents are slightly different. I'm going to be focusing more on descriptive statistics rather than probability, which is what I did in the other part of the workshop video. And again, we're doing practice over here. So this is not meant to be a teaching one. It's more of a practice one for someone who's already knows how to do it and just needs a little bit of review before trying to do the test. So these are problems that are likely to look like the ones that you will see in a test. So here you have a list of two sets of data, and you were asked to figure out what the mean, mode, medium, and range of each data set is, and then use that to also compare the average scores of the Vultures and Crows in their games, right? So these are two schools, football teams, and their scores for their games. All right, so now let's look at this by pausing it and trying to do these skills. Remember, the mean is just adding it all up and divided by the number of items you have. And so since there's 10 games, you're going to divide it by 10. The mode is list them all and find the ones that repeat the most, and that's the mode. The medium is going to be, if you put them in order from smallest to largest, what is the value that's in the middle of that data set? And if there's an even data set, like the one that has 10 digits is going to be even, it's actually going to be the number that's in between the center numbers, right? And so you have to add the knob and divide it by 2 to get that. Range is just the maximum minus the minimal, all right? And you can compare the averages by just seeing how much one is bigger than the other. So try to do that. Pause it before I reveal the answers. Okay, so here is the solution for that. So as you can see, to figure out the averages, I added up all the numbers and divided by 10. And you get 24.1 for the Vultures and 19.9 for the Crows, which means the Vultures score 4.2 more points than the Crows per game on average. All you have to do is subtract those two to get that number. All right. When it comes to the mode, you can see that 23 happens 3 times on the Vultures, so that's the mode. But there are no numbers that repeat in the Crows set, so there are no mode there. Aha, trick question. There doesn't always have to be a mode. The medium is the number that's in the center of the data. So in the case of the Vultures, there are two 23s in the center. So the number in between 23s is 23. But here, there are 19 and 21. So you have to get 19 plus 21 divided by 2 to get the number in between, which is obviously 20. And that's going to be your medium for those data sets. As far as the range, you got to do the maximum minus the minimal. So 34 minus 15 for the Vultures gives you 19. And 28 minus 10 gives you 18 for the Crows. And that's what you have it. Basically, how to get mean, mode, range, and medium from the data set, and also how to compare the mediums by subtracting them and seeing which one is bigger. We have another question here to explore, and this one is going to be on the same principles, except we're going to start from dot plots. Even though they're X plots, they're really a dot plot because you're showing how often the values happen. Remember, what this means is that there are 5 6s and 5 5s in the data set, and you can use that to figure out these same values we just practiced. So go ahead and pause the video and try that before I reveal the answers. So here we go. We have the solutions. We have the mean is just, you got to list all the numbers. So 1 once, 2 twice, 3 once, 4 once. Then you got 5 5s, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 3, 5, 5 6s. And when you do all of that and divide by the number of numbers, which is 15 of them, you get a mean of 4.46 repeating. There are 2 modes because they both have the same number of maximums here. The 5s and the 6 happen 5 times each. The medium is the number in the middle of the data set. So it is an odd data set in the sense it has odd numbers, 15 of them. So it's going to be the one in the actual middle, which is 5. And the range is also 5 because 6 minus 1 is 5. That's simple A. If you look at simple B, right off the bat, you can tell, by the way, if the question asks you to compare them, that the grouping is way more in the lower values than the higher values. So there's a shift towards the left, while this one is shifted towards the right here, right? Now, if you look at the mean, you're just going to do 1 1, 4 2s, 3 3s, 3 4s, and then 1 5, and then 6 6s. Add them all up together, divided by 15, you get 2.53. So yeah, a much lower average due to the fact that a lot of concentrated scores in the lower A range. The most common score is also a 2 because it happens 4 times more than any other tallest stack. The medium is 3 because it's the middle value in that data set if you find it. And then the range is again 5 because so they have an equally distribution of scores, but most of the scores are lower in the sample B. Not that they asked. Which takes us to the next question, where they're actually going to ask us to compare these groups by looking at these box plots and use the box plots to find out what the minimum, the maximum, and the range is, as well as the median. Now, just remember that the minimal is the first value and the beginning of the first whisker. And then at the end of the second whisker, which is this section outside of the box, you have the maximal. The medium is the one in the middle of the box, right? And the range is the difference between the maximum and the minimal. So we can very easily figure those out. And as far as comparing the groups, you just got to look at the way they're distributed and try to figure out how those one group compare to the other as far as this goes, the values that they got. So let's see. Pause it before I reveal the answers. Okay, so here we have the answers. As you can see, there is a minimum of 10 for seventh grade with a maximum of 30, giving you a range of 20 by subtracting those two, and the medium is 18. For the eighth grade, the minimum is 12, the maximum is 32, so the range is also 20. So they're equally distributed across the values, but the medium is 20, meaning that the values are shifted more one way for the eighth grade. So it seems that the eighth grade has higher scores on average based on that. Now, if you do look at the size of the box, though, you would see that most values in the eighth grade fall closer to the medium than the values of the seventh grade do. There's more spread on the values. So that means that they not only have a larger medium, but they have scores closer to it, meaning that it's likely that the average is higher on the eighth grade, especially since the maximal is larger than the maximal of the seventh grade and the minimal is also larger. So altogether, all the facts are pointing to eighth grade having scored higher here. All right, so that is a review of the descriptive statistics that you're going to see in the statistics and probability content assessment for seventh grade. I hope you found this helpful, and don't do anything that would not make me more proud. I'll see you in the next series.